So we're looking ahead to the Longines Irish Champions Weekend on September 10th and 11th at Leopardstown and the Curragh. And I'm delighted to be joined by Rob Kearney of Ireland, Leinster, and of course Western Force and Louth and Cooley Kickham's as well. Rob, thanks for joining us here. What do you think of when you think of Longines Irish Champions Weekend?
Yeah, I think of you're still in the Indian summer. You know, September, autumn is on the way, and you don't want to say goodbye to the sun just yet. You know, last of the flat racing. You know, you've got some big races, some big horses coming from abroad to compete in one of the biggest prizes. You know, in our flat racing calendar year, and it's a good day out, isn't it? You know, there's a real social element to it. People want to come for the crack. It's, you know, what I like about race days, it extends for 6 or 7 hours. You know, you can come as early as you want and stay as late as you want sometimes. Whereas with, you know, rugby matches or GAA matches, you're there before kickoff and you're gone afterwards. So there's a lot more time to enjoy during the day. You know, there's good intervals between races, so you can catch up with friends, you can have a punt, you can go for a couple of drinks. There's lots of different things you can do. So it's a really good day out. It's good crack, it's social, and you know, you never leave having a bad day, I don't think.
And that's the important part of it, I guess. Like, this Longines Irish Champions Weekend is a weekend. You have fantastic facilities in Leopardstown and the Curragh, so you have that combo of world-class racing and the facilities from which you can have the crack from while watching it.
Exactly, and I think it's brilliant that, you know, this year, like years gone by, you've two different facilities. So you're in Curragh Sunday, you're here on the Saturday, so it appeals to, you know, different people living at different parts of the country. It might be easier to get to one over the other, and I think that's really nice. You know, in this country, we've improved our racing facilities significantly over the last few years, and it enhances the day. You know, when people are looking on from abroad and they see some of the great facilities we've improved on building, it just makes the whole spectacle an awful lot better. So it's brilliant to be able to showcase some of the great places that we have for hosting some of these races. And
you have been at the Irish Champions Weekend, enjoyed it, enjoyed the racing, enjoyed the crack as much?
Yeah, listen, you enjoy the racing, you enjoy the crack. You know, I wouldn't be a big punter, but any time I come to the races, you always might put a few quid on some of the different horses. It's lovely when you leave with a few extra quid in the pocket, that more than you had coming down. There's been a lot of times I've left with less too. But you know, again, that's part of the crack on the day. And you know, if there's ever times when, you know, the bookies have had a tough day, it's a good day for the punter.
Absolutely. We're used to seeing you breaking lines and catching high balls, and I should have mentioned the lines, of course, earlier, but with the Lions, Ireland, Leinster, etc. But what people wouldn't have known is that you do have a horse background, and it's not just recently you've become interested in racing.
Yeah, I grew up in a farm in the Cooley Peninsula in County Louth. My dad used to breed horses when I was growing up, and you know, he'd send them off to training, and then we'd all go out to the race days a little bit. He had some good ones and a couple of not so good ones too, so it was always a little bit within the family. You know, I was never a huge fanatical horse racing fan, so there's lots about it that I still don't understand. But I've gotten to know an awful lot more about it in the last year. I've, you know, got involved in buying a horse with a friend of mine. It's called The Very Man. We have him with Jessica Harrington, and he went over did his first flat race there in Tramore a few weeks ago and came second in it. So, you know, it's part of the occasion. It's good to have a day out, and to have a runner in some of these races over the last calendar year has been, you know, great crack.
But you mentioned your dad and being small scale. Well, that's actually the majority of that industry in Ireland. It is the fact that you can have a few in the field out the back that sort of brings it to the core of the Irish sort of heartland.
Yeah, it does. And listen, of course, you've got some of the big stables around the country, and they are incredible at enhancing the reputation of Irish racing globally. But like you say, there's a lot of little fish in the pond as well who are breeding them out back and keep them in the field. And when they have winners on their day, it's unbelievable, and that adds to the whole story and the whole prestige of Irish racing. So, you know, it's really important to have both sides of those in the industry.
And you mentioned the ownership So how did that come about? Was it something you always fancied doing? I know there would have been people you played with in Ireland were big into racing, like Ronan O'Gara, for argument's sake. So how did this, was it an opportunity you were looking out for?
Yeah, no, not really. We were out for drinks a few nights. I think there was racing on that day, and there was a group of 5 or 6 of us maybe sitting around a table. We said, oh, wouldn't it be great if, you know, we all took a little bit and set up a syndicate here and got involved. So I was like, yeah, everyone at the table said, yeah, we get involved. Well, sure, anyway, 3 or 4 of the others, when the bill came to get involved, they looked the other way. So there's only 2 of us, but listen, we're enjoying it, we're having good fun. Jessica and Kate are doing a really good job with them. You know, it'd be nice to get a few more winners. We've had one already down in Navan, but you know, you live in hope, and that's part of the dream too.
And that's it, isn't it, with racehorse ownership? Like, we'd all love to have the Group 1 winners and the Classic winners, or to have any winners, but it has to be about more than that, you know. Explain a little bit the buzz even on the day of racing.
Yeah, it is great. You know, you need a good bit, an element of luck in it too. You need things to go your way on the race. You know, we have had one winner, like I say, in Navan, and the feeling is unbelievable. You know, it really is great. And you know, even at the Galway hurdle there during the summer, the very man he was leading with a few to go, and there's a little part of you thinking, Jesus, this could be it. You know, it's a grade 1, this could be huge. You know, unfortunately it wasn't to be, but you know, that adds to the excitement, and it all adds to the buzz of being involved. And you know, you come into the parade ring beforehand, and you know, you're filled with excitement and the energy of what could be. You know, so it's all part of the day and the occasion with it.
It's obviously very different from the height of when you were playing in Lions tours and, you know, say the morning of a Grand Slam game against Wales or that, but is it nearly worse, that feeling of butterflies and that you're utterly helpless?
No, not at all. You know, for some of those big games, you're so nervous because it's you having to go out and do it. You know, it's an awful lot easier when you're sitting in the stand watching on. You've nothing to do. So, no, they're definitely incomparable. But certainly the buzz of winning is, you know, they're not too far apart.
And tell us a little bit about Jessica Harrington. You've been down to the yard, so you've seen a little bit about how she operates. I mean, she's an amazing woman. To have achieved what she's achieved and maintaining the hunger. What have you seen since you've been down there?
Yeah, I've been down there a few times, and you're bang on. She's an incredible woman. Her achievements speak for herself. To be able to do it over hurdle fences and the flat is a huge achievement as well, and it just shows how talented that she is. She's showing no signs of slowing down. The operation they have down there is you know, it's so good. It's very professional. They leave no stone unturned. You know, great facilities for the horses, and you know, we're very happy with the stable down there. And you know, chat to Kate quite a bit, who's very involved in it with her mum. You know, so the only thing I tell her now, Kate, just a few more winners and we'll be very happy.
You know, the only thing is they want the same, Rob.
I know, exactly. So we're all fighting the same direction.
How do you see, again, you've dealt with some of the best coaches, managers, so obviously it's different, but in terms of conditioning a horse, like, would you see anything go, oh, that's quite similar to conditioning a human? And then there's the management of a team, as in the overall collective. Do you see any comparisons?
Yeah, you definitely do. You know, and anytime we won any big rugby games or tournaments, you know, you're always very quick to praise and highlight, you know, the physios, the medical staff, the nutritionists, all the people outside of the team and coaches who have had a big impact in terms of you winning on that day. And it's still very much, you can see that in horse racing too. Of course, the jockey and the trainer get a huge amount of the credit, but you know, the people cleaning out the stables and who ride them out on the daily basis and clean the yard and physios. So they have a huge team down there, and you know, like you said, when I went down to Harrington's, you could definitely feel that there's a really good culture within the place, and you know, very strong team spirit surrounding the whole you know, the whole farm.
That's a great point. And then the jockeys. I mean, I seem to remember seeing, so like as rugby players at the highest level, you were shoveling food into each other or into yourselves as fuel. Jockeys are at the other end of the spectrum. Have you an appreciation for like someone like Shane Foley, you know, at the weights they have to operate at, but also their athleticism and strength?
Yeah, definitely. You know, their strength is incredible. Their mental strength, I think, is even more impressive. You know, I have a huge amount of appreciation for them with their weight because, you know, I was the other extreme. I was having to eat loads of food to try and keep the weight on necessarily when my appetite wasn't that big. You know, but that's been part of a professional and doing whatever it takes to be able to perform, you know, to the best of your ability at your job.
Yeah. And what about the horses? You know, have you spent more time? You mentioned earlier you're still learning about racing, but it's great that that doesn't put someone off being involved. The horse themselves, do you appreciate what do you like about the athleticism or the majesty of the horse?
Yeah, you know, I think they're stunning animals. You know, I think they're calm. You know, because I grew up with them from an early age. You know, they have a sense to them. You know, so that side of it is something I really like. The gentle nature to them. But also love when, you know, they're racing towards that finish line with a couple of furlongs to go and they are just going hell for leather, and the athleticism of them and their ability just to move so quickly, all the muscles twitching and fire, and it's, you know, it's a beautiful sight. Yeah. And we should mention, of course, you know, we were talking about Jessica and Shane. They had a brilliant Longines Irish Champions weekend last year. They had treble in Leopardstown and a one
winner
in the Curragh. Yeah,
so you're in the right yard.
In the right yard, and you know, to be fair to them, any sort of big race meeting that is going on, they're always there or thereabouts, and they're in the winners' enclosure at some stage over the course of the few days. So, you know, wishing them the very best of luck as well over the weekend, and hopefully they get a few more winners.
Yeah, as long as the very man wins down the line.
Exactly, that has to be part of the deal.
Can I just ask you one more? So you mentioned like you're learning about racing. Is that an important aspect, that you can come into racing as, you know, at any stage as a rookie with a little bit of knowledge as you had? It's not a detraction. You don't have to know everything inside out about it.
No, of course you don't. And listen, you can come to the races and not understand much about it at all and still have a really good day. You know, or you know, you can learn and study form and weights and grades and all of this stuff as much as you want to. So I think it's a sport that's really inclusive for people. You know, like I said, there's still a fair bit that I have to understand with it. I am improving my knowledge as time goes on, but I am very far from an expert. I won't be doing any interviews on Race Day TV or anything like that.
Thanks for chatting, Rob, and we look forward to everyone coming to Leopardstown and the Curragh for Longines Irish Champions Weekend on September 10th and 11th.